Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Behind the Cape. I'm Data Superhero Keith Belanger, and super excited today to be joined by fellow Data Superhero Karthik. Karthik, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Keith. Thanks for the opportunity again to be part of this Behind the Cape series one more time. Happy to be here. Looking forward to covering some interesting perspectives on Openflow today.
Yeah, I'm excited. Openflow was announced and introduced to everybody at Snowflake Summit a while back, so I'm excited to hear what you have for us. So, you ready to get into it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Great. Let me share your slides here and go right ahead.
I'll start with a quick intro about myself. I'm Karthik Raman. I lead the Snowflake Tech Consulting Group at LTIMindtree. I'm also a Snowflake data superhero. Also, I lead the Snowflake Chennai user group chapter. I'm also a technical blogger. The link to the my Medium channel is shown on the screen. Participants can follow me on like Medium and then like LinkedIn. And in today's session, Keith, I'm going to primarily cover a kind of high-level overview of like what OpenFlow is, and then what it brings to the table in terms of like data integration or like data engineering space. And this was one of the theater sessions I did at the summit on day 3 with one of my good friends at Snowflake, Prathamesh. So I thought if we can do this as a webinar just for the benefit of the larger audience, I thought it'll be beneficial.
Yeah, sounds great. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
Okay, let's go to the next slide, please.
Come on.
Yeah, in today's session, the agenda is pretty much about around what is OpenFlow, why OpenFlow, when exactly to use OpenFlow, who are all the personas who can use OpenFlow, and where does the OpenFlow run behind the under the hood, and then in terms of the architectural patterns, how does OpenFlow work? We are going to cover all these aspects. So if you can go to the next slide, Keith. Um, Here, I wanted to start with a little bit of background on what are all the typical challenges I've seen in my experience organization face, specifically in the data engineering space. Typically, in my consulting role, what I've seen is organizations and customers, they have data coming in from a variety of data sources, and to ingest the data from those data sources, they would normally require to have like multiple tools and technologies to ingest the data. And in addition, they have a variety of data coming in, like structured data, unstructured data, streaming data, batch data, and that would require, because of the variety of tools and technologies in their data ecosystem. Number one is like in terms of managing the licenses, and then the alliances, relationship, etc. It becomes cumbersome. The second problem they face is in terms of the skilling, cross skilling, upskilling. Their data teams will need to know like multiple technologies to get the data from all those different platforms, and whenever they move from one technology to the other, it takes a lot of effort to get their data engineers and like teams specifically to learn the new technology, get up to speed, and then like handle their ongoing data engineering needs. That is always a big problem for teams. And in addition, because of the variety of data that I mentioned, it could be relational database sources, it could be streaming data sources, um, and also it could be file sources. Because of these variety of data sources, the data teams are usually required to do a lot of extensive coding to handle all their data engineering workloads. So that is where I've seen a lot of organization and customers, they feel that the speed at which they can do development, it is like really slow, and like they cannot do innovation at a fast pace. And they feel that the the time to market is like primarily slowed down because of all these factors.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that is.
I can, from my spouse, for myself, and I think many others, is there's nothing more challenging than when a business might say, "Hey, we want to bring in this new source of data," and your response has to be, "We don't have the technology or the capability to bring in that data at this time," and then you either have to find a third-party tool or build something so that you can ingest that data, delaying the ability for that business to take advantage of that new source of data.
Especially in sectors like banking and financial industry or insurance, or like even for that matter life sciences and all, every second matters.
Yep.
And when they are dealing with a very sensitive high critical data, the delay and like slow down, like it does not always help. So that is where with the new introduction of Snowflake Openflow, the new announcement at the summit, it is primarily solves all the problems or the challenges or pain points that I mentioned in the last few minutes. So in this slide, I'm primarily going to cover what is Openflow, where exactly does it come in and like help customers and organizations accelerate their development cycle. Num- in terms of what it is, Openflow is a managed integration service which is primarily built on Apache NiFi. It gives data teams the flexibility to connect to any data source, pull data from it, and then like load it into any target destination. So it is like any data source to any destination. In terms of the UI, like it gives a very unified like experience. Data teams are not data engineers are not required to do any extensive coding. It comes with out of the box like yeah, connectors and then like processors available. In terms of what does it solve, it reduces number one like time and complexity. It drastically cut down the time taken to build like pipelines, pulling data from hybrid sources. Extensive coding is not required. It gives teams the option to have process unstructured documents and then have it AI ready. What I mean by that is they can do from the unstructured document, do things like extraction, parsing, chunking, embeddings, etc., etc., and then they feed it to the large language models and take advantage of the native AI features available on Snowflake. In terms of end-to-end ingestion, right from the ingestion transformation, pretty much like the end-to-end like data capture and then like incremental processing, all that is possible because of Openflow. Finally, on the it also gives the option or capability to do incremental change data capture natively. It only like uses minimal compute and does the change data capture in an optimal way. What sets it apart? It comes with out of the box pre-built connectors. There are close to 30 plus connectors and like 200 plus processors, which data engineers and data teams can do it. They can just like drag and drop the all the connectors which are natively available. Multi-modal ingestion is another USP of Openflow. It gives advanced integration capabilities. We can do things like optical character recognition, NLP, etc., etc. In terms of the variety of data, it could be text files, it could be image files, it could be audio files, video files, all the different possible structured, unstructured, streaming, batch data. Everything can be integrated, be it your SharePoint or Slack or Google Drive, you name it. Openflow has the capability to bring the data from all that, and it is a low-code interface again. With minimal coding knowledge or experience, data engineers can easily use Openflow to ingest data into bring data from different sources and load it into Snowflake.
I
That's
have
in a
a
yeah.
question for you, Karthik.
Mm,
Also really popular these days is iceberg tables.
yes.
Can OpenFlow deliver into iceberg tables by chance?
Absolutely, yeah. That is one of the key use cases which we are trying to internally trying to do a POC, and absolutely it supports Iceberg as well.
Great.
Uh, let's go to the next slide, Keith. In this slide, I wanted to touch upon the why part of it. As I mentioned, change-aware processing. Openflow is smart enough to understand what is the data that has changed, and it only uses minimal compute resources, and it processes the change data, and then it optimizes the whole change data capture process as a whole. Bidirectional, what it means is it gives you the capability to do source to target, and also it gives the ability to do a reverse ETL once the data is brought from the data source, transformed, and then like loaded into Snowflake or any other destination. That data can also be we can do a reverse ETL back to wherever required. So it is bidirectional. High speed ingestion, what it means is Openflow has the ability to process high volume of data at scale and at speed. So high speed ingestion is one of the USPs. Real-time monitoring and alerts, mainly from the operational excellence perspective. Openflow comes natively with robust monitoring capabilities and alerting mechanisms, ensuring data engineers or any other personas who using Openflow, they have the ability to monitor the pipelines, and then when something goes wrong, they can restart it or remediate it as required. And AI ready, what it means is Openflow. Using Openflow, we can process the unstructured data and then make it like readily available for Cortex and then any other AI models natively within Snowflake, unlocking new levels of possibilities on advanced analytics on natively on Snowflake. When I talk about the key consideration, whatever that I mentioned, that is mentioned on the left, it is open and extensible since it is natively built on Apache NiFi. In addition to whatever native connectors and processes available, depending upon their needs, we also have the option to build our own native processors depending upon our use case. And in terms of security, Openflow is ensures that the data remains secure throughout the data ingestion or like data integration lifecycle end to end by using all the security features, be it OAuth or RBAC or like encryption, secret management, trace secret. So all the native Snowflake security features are ensure the data throughout the ingestion lifecycle, the data is protected. And finally, the smart routing and chunking. Using Openflow, we can do pre-processing of the data and then ensure it is chunking is done, etc., and then passed on to the LLMs, and then it can be consumed by the AI applications after that. So in terms of art of possibilities, Openflow brings a lot of things to the table where like it was not available earlier.
I have a question. When you talk about real-time monitoring alerts and just
Mhm.
metadata in general, is the metadata about OpenFlow and what's going on, is it available in the same area you would find metadata typically in Snowflake in some of the metadata schemas, or is it housed it somewhere differently?
Metadata, it is available, but like all within the metadata schemas that we normally associate, right? Be it your information schema or your account schema, right? It will be available within Snowflake to do the monitoring and alerting.
Great. Next
Let's
slide.
go to the next slide. I'm conscious of time. I spent a lot
Okay.
of things. In terms of use cases, these are some of the top three use cases I could think of. Mainly when organizations are modernizing their ETL pipelines from their legacy estate, if they have multiple tools and technologies, they are moving to a LLM ready uh, yeah, ingestion state. So that is where Openflow helps to them to ingest in data from any to any source to any target, handling both structured, unstructured, streaming data, etc. And Openflow is the one-stop solution from moving from legacy ETL space into LLM-ready ingestion mode. In terms of we are right now living in the data mesh and data products, where organizations are keen on building data products. So if during the data product creation, we can Openflow is pretty much perfect to use during the ingestion and transformations for building like Snowflake data products. And also it allows data engineers to build self-service data pipelines that feed high quality curated data directly into Snowflake data products ready for consumption by various teams. And finally, the multimodal data ingestion, as I touched upon in the earlier slide, Openflow is designed to help connect to diverse data sources, be it your SharePoint or Google Drive or Slack. We can bring in the data from a variety of sources, and like all the text data or images or audio, video, all these different types of data can be brought in using Openflow, and then we can feed it to the AI models, or like even the chatbots or any kind of apps that we have built natively within Snowflake. So in terms of we are moving from a state where we had multiple tools and technologies, and like we were finding it hard to process different types of data. Openflow gives you a single integrated platform which the same management capability, and it unlocks speed and efficiency and cost improvement in the data ingestion space. Keith.
Excellent. Yeah. It's definitely a space where I know I've been doing this for a very long time, and ingesting data was always the challenge, because to the point you just brought up. And what also over the years is, I can remember years ago I had like, two data sources, like a mainframe and maybe a relational database. And, now you have hundreds and hundreds of variety of data sources and file types you need to handle. So it's really great to see this capability easier accessible to Snowflake customers.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure all the customers, once they start trying out Openflow, they are going to love it, especially the data engineers who are the main target audience. They are going to just love it. Let's go to the next slide, Keith. This slide primarily talks about what are all the different personas who are going to use it. Mainly the cloud engineers. Especially for the cloud engineers, Openflow provides the tool to set up and maintain the underlying infrastructure, deploy the data plane agents, and then manage the runtimes. In terms of what is a data plane agent and then runtimes and all, like I will cover in the subsequent slide. um, Data engineers are the main target core part of any data team. So data engineers can leverage Openflow to build new data pipelines, customize existing ones, manage their data flows to pull the data from uh, the data any data source, and like load it into the raw layer or the bronze layer into Snowflake. They Furthermore, if required, like depending upon the use cases, they can also transform the data from bronze into silver and gold layers, and then make it ready for advanced analytics. um, Pipeline operators is another persona who will primarily configure and like execute the existing data pipelines that is already created. And finally, the business analysts and the end users, while they do not like directly build pipelines, they are the end consumers of the data which is processed by Openflow. So they leverage, be it dashboards, reports, or AI models, and then they consume the data which is ingested and then processed using Openflow. So in the end-to-end life cycle, if you see, these are the different personas who are going to be benefited out of the great capability that Openflow brings. I'll quickly move to the next slide, Keith. Here, in terms of where does it run, deployment options, there are two options available. Currently, Openflow, you can run it directly on the uh, customer's own VPC environment. Say, for example, it is currently available in AWS. So if the customer feels that their organization prefers to have a strict data residency rules, and then they also have security requirements allowing them to, if they want to have full control of the over the where the data is like processed, then the first option of deploying Openflow within the customer's own VPC environment, virtual private cloud. That is the first option. In scenarios where certain organizations they want a fully managed service, where they don't want to worry about the deployment and managing the infrastructure, for them the second option is to deploy Openflow on the SPCS, which is Snowpark Container Services. So these are the two options currently available. In terms of region availability, it is currently available in AWS commercial regions, and it is in the roadmap that it will be soon be available in Azure and GCP and government clouds as well. I'll quickly move to the next slide, which is the meat of the whole topic. This is the how part. How exactly Openflow? How does it work under the hood? So if you see on the top, you have the unified user experience, which is nothing but the Snowsite. Snowsite gives a unified user experience for people using Snowflake. And just below that, we have Openflow service and API, which is not, which is called as a control plane. This is the whole brain behind the whole operation of Openflow. The control plane is where the orchestration and management. This is the control orchestration and management layer, where it natively runs on Snowsite. It gives a unique unified experience for all your Snowflake operation. We can create the deployments and runtimes, which is the data plane, using from the control plane. So in certain scenarios, customers might have different line of business, and then they might have a requirement, they want to create multiple runtimes. One runtime might be required to be on the customer VPC because of strong data security requirements. Another line of business, they might not have strict regulations, they might want to do a managed service and then deploy Openflow on SPCS. So they can do all that. They can create multiple deployments and multiple runtimes using control plane. They can do that seamlessly, easily in a few clicks within Snowsite. Just below the control plane, what you see is the connectors. The connectors is where, like, these are your gateways to the different data sources. Openflow currently offers a variety of connectors, be it SaaS connectors connecting, which helps to connect to the SaaS application, database connectors, connecting to databases like SQL Server, PostgreSQL, MySQL, etc. Streaming connectors are available out of the box to connect to all the streaming data sources, and unstructured connector as well. So as I mentioned, there are currently 30 or 30 plus connectors available, and 200 plus processes available, and within a few clicks and then few drag and drop, we can leverage these connectors out of the box and connect to a variety of data sources and pull the data into Snowflake. And just below the connectors, we have the processors controller services, and parameter context, telemetry, etc., which are basically the building blocks that helps to do transformation, routing, and monitoring of the data within the pipeline. And I touched upon the below that the deployment runtimes. The two options are there, and um, any connector or a processor are not available depending upon the use case. There is an option to build new processors and with minimal coding. And since these are natively built on Apache NiFi, the whole Openflow data ingestion ensures consistency and reliability when it comes to connecting to the different data sources.
Great.
So, and finally, I have one last slide to cover, Keith. So, with all the new announcements at the summit, how does the whole end-to-end Snowflake for data engineering ecosystem looks like? If you see on the left, this is where Openflow takes center stage. It gives the primary mechanism for bringing the data from a variety of data sources, on-prem databases, audio, video files, SaaS applications, PDF, Kafka for streaming data. So Openflow gives you the flexibility to ingest the data from all the different sources. In addition to that, you have options like sharing and marketplace to share the data, or like acquire like any external data. And post that, in terms of transformation and orchestration, we can use dynamic tables for simplified ELT pipelines and continuous data transformation, Snowpark data frames, especially when the data engineers are familiar with programming languages like Python, Java, Scala, SQL, etc., to build their pipelines within Snowflake. Task is again for scheduling and automations of the pipelines. DBT projects is another great feature that was introduced. If customers are using a DBT core, they can natively build DBT models, import DBT models, everything natively within Snowflake. And stored procedures, UDFs, etc. It can be used for custom logic or any complex transformations available. So and finally, on the consumption part, Openflow can be used, as I mentioned earlier, to do a reverse ETL. So that means, if required, the data can be exported from Snowflake and then loaded it to any other destination from there. And in terms we can build once the data is processed by Openflow and it is available within Snowflake, we can create agentic apps, and then we can implement like advanced analytics on natively on Snowflake. And post that, on the consumption side, sharing and replication is another option. Worksheets again, if they want to if there is a use case for doing an interactive analysis and reporting, worksheets can be used. Streamlit, if there is a need to build data apps on Snowflake, Streamlit can be used. And at the bottom, what you see is a workspace is the new development environment, which is a new feature that got introduced. Notebooks are there like for interactive data exploration and development, VS Code integration, Git integration, and of course, Snowflake Trail is there for auditing and security. So, all in all, what this slide illustrates is that Snowflake is not a standalone tool. It is a deep it is deeply integrated component within the overall Snowflake ecosystem, designed to empower data engineers at each stage in the end-to-end life cycle in the data journey as a whole. So I'm so excited. I want to do we have started to do a POC, and then I want to get my hands dirty, and then I'm planning that we will do one more session in the coming weeks, Keith. I want to do a live demo of one of the use case, and then I want to show what is the power of Openflow by with a live demo.
No, this is great. I mean, this was other than I had high level understandings, other like really high, like Apache NiFi under the cover. So this was very helpful for me to understand. And as you brought up, it's great to see how Snowflake is more than just a data platform, that it's becoming more and more like a data complete end-to-end ecosystem that is bringing more and more capabilities that most data practices and organizations need to get underway. So I really appreciate what you shared with us. It was a great introduction, but I, let me know when you've got your POC done, because I know myself and I think plenty of other people here watching would love to really see it in action as well.
Absolutely, Keith. A lot of customers like who I talk to on a day-to-day basis, they are showing interest. Like, what is Openflow? Tell me about it. And like they are like coming forward and like telling us like I want to do a POC, and then I'm pretty sure with all the different tools and technologies in the client landscape, they are just going to love it. And then this will be the single stop solution for all the integration needs natively on Snowflake.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for joining us today, Karthik. This was helpful, and thanks everybody for joining us as well and listening to what he had to say.
Thank you.
Everything that Karthik did show at the beginning for his links for his blog and LinkedIn are down below in the comments as well, so you can easily access them. But thanks again, Karthik.
Thank you, Keith. Thanks for the opportunity. It's always a pleasure to collaborate with you and then do these kind of webinars. And once again, I have to thank you for all that you do for the Snowflake community. Thanks for that once again.
Thank you, and thanks everybody again, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye bye.